Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning and welcome. It's Nurse Richard the Wax Wizard. Thanks for joining me for episode 299. One to go. Hope you're as excited about me as about episode 300. It's going to be a good one. This is a good one though, I'm not going to lie. I've seen so many weird, wonderful, complicated, unusual cases recently. I've been saving the majority of them for episode 300. But yeah, I think one day I did a full day of home visits last week. Excuse me. I'm a bit coarse today. Coarse? Horse even. Brew down fixes everything, doesn't it? Yeah, I did a load of home visits one day last week, and I swear in the space of 4 home visits, there was 2 cholesteatomas, 2 keratosis obturans and 1 hearing aid dome, all in the same day, all in the morning. I'm like, I mean, it was hard work, don't get me wrong, but yeah, lots of good content for us in the future. So let me tell you about this one. Now, this was a young chap, and believe it or not, he didn't think he had a problem in this ear that we're just doing now. But when you see what he'd done to the other ear, you will understand why, because that was the worst one, but it was all self-inflicted. There you go. Nice and clear there. Can you tell the difference between that one and this one? That's right. Who do you think's been having a poke around in there? That's right. My good old friend, Buddy. And as soon as I looked at one like this, your heart sinks and you think, oh no, what have you done? But not only is he pushed it right down into his onto his eardrum and also into the recess, it just mushed it all around the canal wall, so it's kind of hard to know whereabouts you are. Got a rough idea, but he'd also oiled it to within an inch of its life, and I'm pretty sure he'd put quite an aggressive wax softener in. I'm not sure which one it was, but because it's gone mush, I suspect it was very hard to start with, but the top layer of it is mushy. And you can see there's a lot of hairs in it as well, because he's poked it in. He fully admitted what he'd done, and I get why some do. They're desperate, they'll try anything other than coming and seeing someone and paying for it. But I think he finally realised that he wasn't going to be able to get this out on his own, despite trying a lot. And he said, "Oh, I only pushed it in a little bit. I didn't really go too deep in." And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, no, you did. You really did. So I'm just trying to see if I can peel that up there. But it's just proving a little bit too tricky. And you don't want to go too close to the canal wall. But you can see there's a thin layer of dead skin that's peeling up there. And I want to lift that up just so you can get a more defined idea, an image of whereabouts you are in the eardrum, because I don't know how far away the eardrum is. I've got a rough idea. I don't think it's far away, to be honest with you. And I'm still using the full-size tube because it's a big, thick black lump, and so we certainly need it at the moment. But you always have to be very wary when you're doing ones like this, because all of a sudden a little bit could just disappear up the tube, and it turns out you're a fraction of a millimetre away from the eardrum. You just never can quite tell, and this was quite close. And I think after a little bit does come up, and it does show a little glimpse of the eardrum. And I think at that point I realised whereabouts I was, and I think we had to go down to the fine-end tube because it became a bit noisier as well. I did also have to use, and I'll explain why when we get to that point. It will become clear anyway. I did have to use a bit of irrigation as well. I didn't record that, but you'll see what happened, what it looked like before it and what it looked like after it. Because we do use it quite commonly. Got all the hairs in this. Do use it quite a lot, irrigation. It's a very useful, and for the right patient, it's a very safe method. It still is the recommended method in public health, and in many circumstances it can be safer, in my opinion, than suction. Now, I don't know if you just saw then to the top right of just where I am now, you can just see a little glimpse of the eardrum there. So we already know that we're really not far away at all. And again, I don't really want to keep digging down too much with a full-size tube, so that it's at this point where I've gone to the fine-end tube. But I quickly realised I wasn't going to get anywhere with this, because again, it was mushy, lots of hairs in it. But the thing here, what I didn't realise, behind this mushy bit, there was a really hardened plug, really stuck in the recess. So that's, but you'll see that in a bit. And it was quite shocking how big this thing was actually, and how far around the corner to the left as you're looking at the screen. It was. Again, I had a lot of comments about dad jokes, and the majority said, yeah, go on, shove one in every day. So I thought, why not? So here's today's dad joke for you. This one courtesy of Milton Jones. He's a very funny British comedian. You should go and check him out. So it was my wife's birthday the other day, and so I took her to an orchard and told her to stand there and just look upwards for 20 minutes. Well, she did say she wanted an Apple Watch. Sorry about that. I love that one though. So silly. Anyway, back to this. So as you can see, I'm still getting nowhere at all. So I don't think it's far from now before I decided to just give in, because it's just not budging. It's not budging, and sure, little soft bits will disappear up the tube, but as I'm touching it, I can kind of tell behind this mushy bit, it's a lot more solid than I thought it was. So I irrigated it. It does get clear in a second as well. I irrigated it, and you can already see, well, you will in a second anyway, that to the top, it's got, what happens is the irrigation like probe that you put in, it's kind of shaped like that. I know my fingers bend in a weird way. It's shaped just like that, so it shoots it up to the back of the ear canal and gets around the back of that plug, fills it up and kind of forces it to come forward. And like I said, for the right patient, it's a perfectly safe method. And yeah, it does rinse away some of the natural oils in the ear, but it quickly recovers. There is a slightly larger risk of infection, just because you've lost that natural resilience that your ear's got, but it quickly recovers. Like I said, it was sometimes I felt it was safer to do that than it was to keep persevering with this when it was probably going to take ages. So sometimes it just needs a little helping hand. But you can see, I already start to see the size of this thing that was trapped there in the recess. You'll be even more shocked as it starts to move forward, as well as I'm grabbing it to the bottom there and just trying to pull it out that recess to the right hand side. I had no idea it was this big when it actually came out as well. But the difference he noticed was quite remarkable. Unsurprisingly, really, when you look at the size of it, it was a whopper. Well, in real terms, it's not huge, but you've got to bear in mind the proportions of these things. Ears aren't massive things. But you'll see after I've removed it, you'll just see how pronounced the twist and the bend is in this chap's ear, because it was really difficult to get a good look all the way around it. I really had to push the endoscope to one side and kind of point it to the left to get a full image of the opposite side of the eardrum. Look at this now. You see what I mean? I didn't fully get a clip of this. It flew out, but you saw it coming up, didn't you? It was a big one. And here's where I'm just trying my bestest just to angle that endoscope round, but you can just see how curved that ear canal is. It goes in all the way around there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that anyway, and I will see you in 2 days for episode 300, part 1 and part 2, so make sure you watch both of them. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.